What's up, my beautiful people? If you're watching today, we're going to be talking about yes and no questions. And if you're in class, well, we're going to be talking about the same thing, and it's really exciting. All right, so let's do this. All right, so this is a Prezi presentation. I didn't make this. We're just using it from someone. And if you are watching online, you'll have the link in the video. If you are in class, you'll also have the link to this presentation underneath the video online. So that's where you will find it. So what we are doing today is called yes, no questions. The reason they are called yes, no questions is because the answer is yes or no. Okay? Yeah, does that make sense? So far, yes or no? Exactly. That was the question. Okay. Does that make sense? Which was a yes or no question. All right, so again, yes or no questions are questions that can be answered by yes or no responses. For example, does the video talk about bullying? Yes, it does, or no, it doesn't. Do you feel sad? No. Yes, I do, or no, I don't. Have you been bullied? Yes, I have, or no, I haven't. So the answer is either yes or no. All right. So in these sentences or in these questions, we typically have an auxiliary verb. An auxiliary verb is a verb that helps the main verb. For example, if we go back to the examples we were looking at, does the video talk about bullying? Well, the sentence is the video talks about the video. Okay. Does the video talk about bullying? Does is the helping verb, but the main verb is actually talk, right? Do you feel sad? The main verb is not do, it's actually feel. Have you been bullied? Well, the helping verb here is have, and the main verb is been. Bullied, actually. Yeah, bullied is the main verb in that one. Okay, so the main verb is what the action is. Auxiliary verbs are there to help that verb or make more sense. All right, so typically, I know it doesn't necessarily make sense right now, but hang on with me. So typically is, are, was, were, has, had, these are some of our auxiliary verbs. Do is also one of them, okay? So usually they come with another verb. Yeah? Does that make sense? It's usually is plus another verb, right? Has plus another verb. Do plus another verb, okay? So when we make yes or no questions, we move that auxiliary verb to the beginning of the clause. What that means is bullying is an aggression, right? Bullying is an aggression. The helping verb or the auxiliary verb is. If we want to form a yes or no question, we move that auxiliary verb to the beginning of the sentence. So we take it from its place and we move it to the beginning. Is bullying an aggression? Notice that the sentence stayed almost the same. The only thing that happened is that we moved the the verb to be to the beginning of the sentence. So now what we have is bullying an aggression? Yes, it is. Okay. We can see that in the other auxiliary verb or the other sentence as well when we move the auxiliary verb. He has been bullied. Okay, so the auxiliary verb is has. We take it from where it is, we move it to the beginning of the sentence, which means that it switches places with the subject. Okay, then it becomes, has he been bullied? Yes, he has. No, he hasn't. Okay. So notice in the response, it repeats as well. Questions so far? My people that are in the class? This is your time to shine. Okay, no questions. Cool. So all we're doing is we're taking that auxiliary verb and we are putting it in the beginning of the question or in the beginning of the sentence before the subject. That is how we are forming the yes or no questions. Okay, so there are other helper verbs besides auxiliary verbs, and these are called modal verbs or modal verbs. These will be will, would, can, could, should, shall, right? These are all another form of helping verbs, okay? So they are not the main verb, they help the main verb, okay? So they almost do the same thing as auxiliary verb, they're just a little different. All right. Someone knocking at the door? Yeah. Come on in. Someone's knocking at the door, you guys. Whoever is at the door.
Come on in. Come on in. Don't be afraid.
All right. Maybe we should be afraid. I don't know. Moving on. All right. Let's see. All right. Can someone get the, well, actually they left. All right. We make yes or no questions by moving the module to the beginning of the clause. All right. So wherever you see one of them, like will or could or should or shall, you move it to the beginning of the clause, and that's what forms the sentence. Students will experience trauma. Bullied students will experience trauma. We then move it to the beginning and it becomes, will bullied students experience trauma? Yes, they will. Notice the helping verb or the modal verb came right before the main verb, which is where the auxiliary verb was, right? And we did the exact same thing. We just took that word and put it at the beginning of the clause. So the teacher would have been listening. All right, so we take that module and we put it at the beginning before the subject. Would the teacher have been listening? Okay. So we always take the first one, even though have been is also helping verbs, auxiliary verbs, we still take the first one, which in this case would be the model or model. I can never pronounce that word, by the way. I think it's modal, by the way, but I can never pronounce it. So moving on. Any questions on what we have so far? Yes, no, maybe? Y'all are good? All right. This is the time where you can ask questions, you guys. All right. So now we have did, do, and does, which is a little bit different because it's usually not a part of the sentence. And all the other ones, will, would, could, is, all of the other ones, whether auxiliary verbs or modal verbs, they were a part of the sentence, right? They were a part of the initial sentence. Does, did, do doesn't necessarily have to be like that. So did is in the past, do is in the present, simple present, and does is in the simple present in singular, third person singular. Okay. So Google yields 16 million search results for bullying. Okay. Or Google yielded 16 million search results for bullying. The way we can make it into a yes or no question, even though the word did is not actually there, there are no helping verbs in this sentence. All you have to do is put did at the end, at the beginning of that phrase. Did Google yield 16 million search results for bullying? Once you put did at the beginning of that sentence, you end up with yes or no questions. Does that make sense so far? Mm-hmm. Yes, no, maybe? Yes. Okay. So this sentence does not have any auxiliary verbs or any modal verbs. Okay. And you can tell that because you can memorize them. Okay. So if you go back, let's say here, you can see what the list is, are, was, were, has, had, okay? So it's basically the verb to be and the verb to have. All right, that's something you can memorize. Another one, the other ones that you can memorize that you know they're modal verbs is will, would, can, could, should, and shall, and should. If this is in the sentence, then this is what will form the yes or no question. If it is not in the sentence and neither is the verb to be or to have, then it is most likely going to be a did, do, or does question. Does that make sense? Okay, so an example for does, bullying rises to 21%. Does bullying rise to 21%? Notice there isn't could, should, would, shall, none of that is there. The verb to be is not there. The verb to have is not there. And since they are not there, then we use the verb to do to actually write the yes or no question. Okay, students neglect those who bully them. Do students neglect those who bully them? Again, all we did was put the verb to do at the beginning of that phrase, and then it became a yes or no question. Moving on. All right, my good people. So that is it for this one. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you like this video, or if you need more videos, or if you're in my classes and you need to watch more videos. If you are in class, hang on a little bit and we'll talk more about what we just talked about.